Hi, I'm Christian Triola, author of the Missing Method for Guitar books, and in this video I'm going to show you how to tune your guitar. So first, you will need some way of measuring the sound that the guitar makes in order to figure out if you need to take the strings higher, lower, or just to see if they're in tune. So there are a couple of apps that I'd recommend that are free to download, and you'll be able to use those to help you figure out how to tune your guitar. Of course, those aren't the only ways that you can do it. You can also buy a clip-on tuner, which clips onto the top of the neck, or you can get one of these, which I like to use, a credit card size tuner. And you can see I already have it on there and lights are blinking. And I'm going to show you how you can use both of these to tune your guitar. So first, we have the app called Pitch Lab. And so you can see on here that we have all these colors going across the screen, and on the side you have the names of the notes. Now those are all the notes, so you need to know what the names of the notes are on your guitar in order to match them up on the tuner. What we're going to do then is go through the names of the strings. So the thickest string on your instrument is the note E. So you'll look for that note E on the tuner. So let me demonstrate here. I'm going to use the Pitch Lab tuner. Pull this up here again. And I am going to play the last string and we'll see if it's in tune. It should be E, so you'll want to get it right here, and you can see it's a little low. It's not going through that line. So what I'll do next then is put this back down, and then what we'll do is twist this knob, because that's the one attached to that string, to make it tighter. And you can hear that sound change. Now let's check the tuner. And actually, we're really close, but as you can see on here, it's actually a little too high. So what we need to do is pull that back down just a little bit. So what I like to do is, instead of turning the knob again, is just tug on the string. That will pull it through the nut up here at the top, and so we'll be even closer. So let's check it out one more time here. And you can see by pulling it through the nut, we're exactly in tune. We're on that note E. So we have E is the lowest note. The next one in line is the A. Then you have D, G, B, and E. Now, to keep track of those, there's kind of a ridiculous saying that you'll want to remember. That way you know the names of the notes, so you know what to look for when you tune. And that is Eddie, starting with the thickest string, Eddie for E, 8, Dynamite, goodbye, Eddie. So if you remember that, it's ridiculous, like I said, but it does help you remember it. You can look for those notes on the tuner in order to get your guitar in tune. So now what we're going to do is take a look at the credit card tuner so you can see how to use that one. Now, one thing you'll want to know here is that in the corner, and they do these on the clip-on tuners as well, they have the number 440. So you want to make sure it's always set on 440. With the clip-on tuners, it's really easy to hit the button that changes that, and then you're tuning to a slightly lower or higher pitch than regular concert pitch. Now that 440 is 440 hertz, which means it's measuring the sound at 440 vibrations per second. On the guitar, that's actually the pitch A, and that's played on the very first string, 5th fret. So that's kind of our standard pitch that we're going to refer to. However, you don't need to really remember all that. What you want to make sure you have is that it's set for 440 hertz. That way, if you play with somebody else, you'll be in tune with them. It's kind of just a standard pitch that everybody's agreed upon. All right, so what we're going to do then is I'm going to pull this up here again. We'll take a look at that. And so we're going to check the 5th string, the A string, to see if that's in tune. You can see right there that it is not. It is actually too high. So we're going to have to pull that string down. We're going to have to lower it. So to lower that, we need to find which tuner that is. So we have 5th string right here. You follow it all the way up That's the one right in the middle on this side. And so I'm going to lower that. And you can hear that sound change. All right, so let's take a look at that tuner, see how well we did. Hey, look at that. It's right on, actually. I don't need to adjust anything. So we know that string is now also in tune. And so what we would do is go through the other strings to check them out to make sure each one sounds like they're supposed to. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now to show you how I would tune the guitar. So hopefully in the background you can see one of the tuners here. I'll try to hold this one up as we go. I think it's a little bit easier to see. Next we have the note D. You can see that one is again too low. Now you'll notice it jumps around a lot, and that's pretty typical with the credit card size tuners and even sometimes with the apps. You'll see them jump around quite a bit. So what we're going to do then is look for the note when it initially goes off here. So let's take a look. You can see it's low. So I'll need to set that down to tune. So I'm still looking at it. It's kind of out of shot here. You can hear that sound change. I don't want to go too low, so I can press the string a little bit. Try it again. Now I'm going higher because I went too low. All right, now I've come pretty close to that note. I'll show you here on the screen. In fact, actually, you can see it started off right on and kind of goes a little bit low. So you can see it's a little bit tricky to get used to that reading, you know, but we know we're really close to it. So I'm just going to try one more time here. It says it's right in the middle this time. So let's move on to the next string. So the next string, the third string, is G. And that, of course, that note you'll find on the other side of the headstock. So let's take a look. Oh, wow, that one says F sharp. It's supposed to be G. So what you'd want to do then is think, okay, where does F fall in the alphabet? It might sound like a weird question, but you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So F is lower than G, even though it's an F sharp, having that little sharp sign in front of it. That means that string is really out of tune. So first we want to tune that away from the F sharp and into a G. So I'm going to try that now. And you can hear that pitch change again. So we're really close. Let's check it out here on the tuner. And you can see it's G. It kind of dances around a little bit, but we know it's G, but it's still too low. Now I've tightened that string a little bit. You can see the direction I'm pushing that in. And on the tuner, we're right in the middle finally. Now it takes some practice to do that. Sometimes you're going to be there for a while trying to get it exactly right. And part of that is the nut at the top. Sometimes it won't slip through right away like you want it to. So you might have to push behind the neck here or push up here to kind of get it to move through that nut so that it's in tune a little bit better. All right, let's finish it off. We already checked the first string when I did the original demonstration. We know that one's in tune already. So let's take a look at the second string, which should be B. So we're looking for the note B, and it is. This time we're too high. So we're going to take that second string, find it up here on the neck. You can see it's this one here, so I'm going to lower that. And you can hear that sound change. So you want to listen for that to make sure it's actually moving the way you want it to. And let's take a look, see what happened. We're a little off there. It's about right though, yeah, it's right in the middle. And again, a lot of tuners will do that sort of thing. So you just want to make sure that that needle gets to about middle. It might jump around a little bit, but that way you know if you're on the right pitch and you've got got that needle kind of right in the middle there, you know you're okay. Or as you can see earlier on the app, it has all those colors. All the colors go away except for the pitch that you have, and then you can figure out if you need to go higher or lower, or if you're right on. Now, most of the time when you go to tune, once it's in tune, you're only going to be off by a little bit. You know, we only had one string in that example that was pretty far off with that F sharp. It's going to be pretty close. You don't need to really turn those keys very much at all at the top here. So do keep that in mind. Also, too, be careful that you don't overturn it. If you're not sure what it should sound like, try to find a reference pitch. You can find those on YouTube. In fact, I'm going to go through them at the end of this video so you can listen to each note and see how close you are to that note, which is a good thing to do, so that way you don't overwind your string, because you can break strings by winding them too tightly. Now, another question I'm often asked about tuning is how often should you tune your guitar? And the answer is, every time you sit down to play it, you want to at least check the tuning. And what you'll find is most of them will stay in tune pretty well, unless they happen to be new strings. But otherwise, you want to make sure each one is in tune. So when you go to play something, it sounds good. So you get used to what an in-tune guitar sounds like, which is important. Also, another thing you want to know is that if there's a significant change in temperature, your guitar will be more likely to go out of tune. So whether or not you're taking it from like a cold car to a warm house, or if it just goes from 30 degrees one day to 90 degrees the next day, you know, you're going to want to check your tuning for sure, because those weather changes affect the wood the guitar is made of, and it kind of shifts things around. Also, too, if you're putting on a new set of strings, the first couple days after that, you'll want to check those more frequently, because your guitar will go out of tune a lot more during those times. To make sure you've got your guitar tuned correctly, I'm going to go through each string one at a time so you can hear what they should sound like now that we know we're in tune. So here's the low E again. Here's the sound of that. Next is A. Next one is D. The third string is G. String number 2, B. And then finally the first string, E. All right, I hope that helps. Now do keep in mind, if you're a parent who's trying to tune the guitar for a child, usually the younger they are, the more help they'll need. Oftentimes they'll have a smaller scale guitar, and those are a little bit trickier to tune because you don't need to tune the keys as much to get a change of sound. So keep that in mind as well. Also, tuning takes practice, so it does take a while to get used to how far you need to adjust the tuners at the top here to get your strings in tune. And each guitar is a little different. Some you'll have to twist a lot, some not so much. So the more you do it, the better you'll get at figuring out what your guitar is like and how you can tune your instrument. So if you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments below.